So, right, my favourite album of all time, I suppose, is it's number one. You weren't confused.
No?
Down to number one. So, if you put a gun to my head and asked me what my favourite band of all time is, I would probably say Pearl Jam. On different days, it's different bands. Probably between Reuben and Pearl Jam for the most part, but
Yeah.
I would probably say Pearl Jam if I was forced to make the choice. So it's probably quite fitting to have their debut album 10 as my number one spot on this list. This is the album that broke Pearl Jam, and their sort of rise to fame has just kind of continued from then. And the band really came storming out the gates with just an instant classic hard rock album that it'll always be remembered as one of the best examples of the genre. They, on later albums, spread their wings in a sort of broader alt-rock territories and were a bit more experimental on those later albums, but as far as rawness and energy and that excitement of a new band, in my opinion, they've never quite matched what they did on 10. So this album will have a special place in my heart anyway, because it was gifted to me by my sister on my 14th birthday. And it's like you said about Green Day, it being a sort of gateway drug for you getting into other types of music. Pearl Jam is the band that opened the doors for me into sort of heavier avenues of music. The first time I heard the opening track Once, which is a song about a kind of madman killer running about with a shotgun under his coat, just absolutely blew my mind.
No pun intended.
No pun intended, yeah. Songs like Even Flow keep that momentum up with just stomping riffs and Eddie Vedder's iconic crooning vocal embellishments. He's got an almost unintelligible style of singing. You really have to pay close attention to try and understand what the hell he's singing. And often it's just gibberish. There's a few songs in Pearl Jam's career where the lyrics are pretty much gibberish, but it sounds good, which is probably the most
that's all
important
that
thing.
matters.
There's the song Alive, which is probably Pearl Jam's, other than Jeremy, is probably Pearl Jam's most well-known song. It's been played to death over the years, but it's still a pretty powerful song, and it deals with an inappropriate relationship between a mother and her child. There are just tons of intense rock songs on this album, but then there's also The Haunting Beauty of Black. It's got this unforgettable lyrical moment on it, which is probably the moment I knew that I was in love with this band, and it just goes, I know someday you'll have a wonderful life, I know you'll be a star in someone else's sky, but why, oh why, can't it be mine? And I said that sometimes Eddie Vedder's lyrics are unintelligible and nonsensical, but certainly in that passage he's very astute and can write some real sort of poetic and beautiful lyrics. And it's a moment that just gives me chills every time I listen to it. I mentioned Jeremy before. It's a big controversial song about... it's a fictional account of a boy going on a rampage in a school. Many people think that it's actually a true story, but it's sort of based on reality, but in the end it's a fictional song about a massacre in a school. It's actually... when I'm drunk enough to do karaoke, that is my go-to song, because I've just sang it to death on my own so much that is the song that I go to. The closing track on the album Release is another very tender song similar to Black, and I'm going to mention Mad Cool Festival again. The reason I was there was to see Pearl Jam for the first time ever, and when they played Release, I mean, again, that was a fight the tears back sort of moment. It's just a beautiful song. I fucking love this album, and I can't say a lot more about it. One of the other things about this album is it just, whenever I hear it, it just lifts my mood. And I remember one summer after uni, I'd come home and I had to do a summer job in the local shortbread factory, Walkers, and I'd worked there the summer before, and I was just, my first day, I was so depressed to be back in that factory. But then Alive came on the radio and it just made everything better again. So it's just, this album has just got the power to turn me from being a sad, unhappy bastard into a really happy kind of person. it's just got that magic about it.
Aye, it's interesting you mentioned Walker's Shortbread Factory, because I'm also gonna watch
Right.
Walker's Shortbread Factory.
Okay.
Big up the shortbread kiddies.
Big up the shortbread massive. Okay, so
The petticoat posse.
petticoat tail posse, finger brigade.
The finger fuckers. I don't know. I don't know. I can't think of a name or a word for a collection of folk that starts with F.
I can think of one, but let's not go there. Okay. So I don't really have anything more to say about 10. It's a fucking masterpiece, and again it's a debut album that just propelled a group of kind of like not down and outs, but just sort of like young kind of punk kids in shorts and baggy t-shirts to fucking massive rock stars, whether they liked it or not.
Yeah.
That's my number one album of all time.